Hey class, this is Mr. Schmidt talking to you about week 9, October 26th and October 28th. We're talking about the Biome Lab and concluding it and turning it in. Okay, so first of all, we had the lab conclusions. So remember, this is some other teachers have been doing this for years, has a really great setup for their three-tiered system. That's what they got. I got a lot more condensation and a lot less growth in my time. Okay, your goals are to be able to collect the data and interpret the data. Okay, so when I'm talking about collecting the data, we're talking about 7 complete entries with pictures and measurements covering a total of 3 weeks. Okay, so when I gave you my example, I showed you how I took measurements in centimeters and percent of moss, estimate or percent of plant coverage, and then I made notes about condensation, okay, or about growth, okay? And then from there, I went on 7 more entries as you should do, okay? All right, so this is talking about the introduction. So what I'm trying to do here is fill this in. Okay, so we have the template. It's one of our assignments. It originally I was going to have it due tomorrow, Thursday. A number of students told me they were struggling to get this all done on time, so I've pushed this back to Sunday as the due date. So I'll be ready for me to look over and move on Monday. Okay, so just like the other one, we're doing an introduction, diagram, materials, procedure, data. Okay, so let's go through each of these parts in the slideshow here. So the background is about biomes. So what you're doing is you're taking what other people know and giving them specific information about biomes, and then about your eco columns, and then about the biomes we're trying to model, which is the grasslands, freshwater, and deserts. Okay, from there, you're going to insert your diagram of how you built your eco column. So again, we're coming in here, okay, and what we want to see is not how I gave you instructions, but for your specific materials, how you built yours. Where did you put the seeds? What kind of seeds did you use? How deep did you bury them? All those kind of details are useful in that. You can put them in the diagram, or you can spell it out in your procedure. I find the diagram is a great place to put those visual types of references of this is where the dirt is, this is where the seeds went. Okay, so try to give as much visual instruction as you can so that someone else could make your lab, okay, and should get the exact same results that you got using your supplies. So that means we have added another point to this where we need a complete list of materials you used. Be very specific about the seeds. You should also note what kind of bottle you use, because I saw a lot of pictures with different types of plastic bottles used. So please make sure that's noted in your materials list. Okay, so procedure, numbered steps, complete sentences, clearly explains how to reproduce the experiment. Okay, all right, now working our way down the data table. So the idea is you already had all your content here. Okay, so you had your numbers. Okay, maybe your numbers were 0, maybe there was some other number, right, as the plants got larger. But the idea is you could keep going through each one, plant height and plant coverage, okay? You would do these for all 3 biomes, or you could do plant height biome A, plant height B, plant height C, and you could do the 3 that way. That might be an interesting way to graph something as well, okay? So when you do that, you're going to get something that looks like this in terms of its graph. Okay, so with the class today during storm time, we had students ask about how they do the graphs. So let's look at a couple different examples here. So the first way you could do it is take just your chart, highlight the whole thing, say insert chart, that's what you get, okay? Maybe you don't want them side by side. You think that's deceptive. So you block out one set, and again, you grab it, you do your insert, your chart, and you get a different one. And again, you can set this up So that's it, whatever type of graph you want, okay? All right. After talking to a few students, I thought of a different way that might even be more useful to chart this and create fewer charts on your lab, is you could take all three biomes, put them side by side, just cut and pasting out of your um, lab report, and then again, do your insert chart, and there we have all three different graphs on top of each other, and then we really see that the grassland does better than the desert, which does better than the freshwater. Okay, so again, you just have to cut and paste your numbers. You start here, whatever your numbers were, you do copy that. Okay, then you'd come into here, you would, you would have been up here and you would have said paste. Okay, your numbers will pop down. You then highlight it. Okay, do your insert chart. Okay, then you get this again, copy, come back over here, insert, paste your graph. Okay, so you can link it or don't link it. So if you're going to change the numbers later, it's good to have it linked. If you don't want the graph to change in the future, then you don't link it. And there it is, paste it in. Okay, all right. So let's come back to our notes here. So that was the graph. Again, if you have everything lined up and labeled in your data table, it's going to be labeled on your chart as well. Okay, and one thing I saw on the quiz was some people did not equally space the days. Okay, so this needs to go 2, 4, 6, 8. You cannot go 2, 7, 8, 20, something like that. There has to be equal spacing for equal numbers of days. Okay, same with the other axes. There has to be an equal spacing for each number, and it has to go in order 1, 2, 3. You cannot do 1, 2, 1.5. Okay, they have to go in order going up and be equally spaced for the correct units. Okay, all right, so we had our template. All right, and then we have our high points of the data. So that would be the discussion, okay, down here. All right, and then you write your conclusion, okay? Question was how to answer these questions. The easiest way is probably just to do complete sentences after each one, okay? If you find that format doesn't work for you, you could just write a paragraph after this that answers the questions in general, okay? Either way, as long as this information is present and it's in complete sentences and it's easy to understand, then that's what's working, okay? Remember, this one is a practice task. It's one of the bigger practice tasks, but it's a practice task and graded as such. This is a master task, which means I'm expecting quality writing, complete sentences, okay? Don't just say, oh, I had it somewhere else. Can't you just find it and put it in there? No, that's your job, is to create a finished product that shows mastery over all of this content, okay? All right, so that brought us to our conclusion. Okay, so we talked about that both on Monday and on Wednesday. Okay, and like I said, the new due date for the conclusion is Sunday. Okay, hopefully everyone has their journal done and in, because that was due earlier this week. All right, and with that, y'all have a good day.